Hi everyone. Today we are going to talk about, so I call this learning design from the titans or the giants. And by titans, I actually mean the Fortune 500 companies, the companies that provide us products for daily use, for social media, for productivity. And I will be talking about different UX principles these companies actually use um, in their design process, in their product development process, and how we can basically what we can learn from using these principles. So let's begin. A little bit about me first. Let me just check if everything's working fine. Yeah, perfect. So a little bit about me first. So my name is Osama Noor. I'm a product designer and a UX designer by profession. But I also have additional experience in product management, in content creation, brand design, and other kinds of design, which typically makes me a multidisciplinary designer. But yes, I specialize in UX and product design. That's where I have the most experience. I'm currently a senior product designer at CreditBook, which is a fintech company that builds financial tools for MSMEs and SMEs in Pakistan. Previously, I was a product designer and manager at Zing, which was a community-powered delivery app. Very interesting idea. Um, and there I was actually sitting right in between product design and product management. So I got to really, I got the best of both worlds when it comes to roles and responsibilities. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I've been a founder. I've founded different startups in the past. And I'm a computer science graduate from University of Karachi. Started out as a software developer, like most of the designers out there, and then transitioned into a full-time designer. I am super passionate about films, music, and football. These are the three things I really love. These are and very close to my heart. So let's begin with our first topic. We're going to talk about UX principles, and you may have heard about these buzzwords everywhere when it comes to design. There are principles, UX laws, and a lot of other similar stuff. So first, we really need to understand, what do we really mean by UX principles when we say that term, right? And simply speaking, I mean, by definition, give me a minute. Yeah, simply speaking, by definition, it's actually, principles are fundamental frameworks, or you can say they're just guidelines and concepts that we can use to inform design decisions when we're designing our products and services and systems. And they're coming from experienced designers, experienced professionals with decades of experience. So you can say, with their experience, they've learned things, and they want us to avoid reinventing the wheel. They know the winning formula, and they're basically, they propose principles to use for us, so we can make better decisions in order to create usable, effective user experiences. And there's a lot of other traits that it can inform in our products with the help of these principles. So when you talk about the design of everyday things by Don Norman, when you talk about usability heuristics by Jacob Nielsen and Dieter Rams, 10 principles of good design, these are all basically UX design principles or design principles. In simple words, these are just practical recommendations or rules of thumb, I'd like to call, that help you inform specific design decisions within a project. Simple as that. Moving on, so my plan is to basically go over every topic, and with every topic, we're going to talk about a different Fortune 500 company. First topic is crafting engaging user journeys. How you can basically create a meaningful user journey that keeps you engaged and yet provides you the value that you're looking for. And for this example, I think the best example would be Starbucks. And we all know Starbucks has really revolutionized the way customers look at their look at normal coffee, and how they really interact with the baristas there, how they really post selfies with the cup on social media. It has really like changed the game in this business. And their mobile app actually allows users to place orders. um, can you not hear me, guys? I think you can. Okay. Okay, perfect. Loud and clear. Great. Um, Yeah, so I was saying, so when it comes to their mobile app, with which customers basically place orders, they customize drinks and make payments. I think that's a very engaging user journey. And today we're gonna go through this journey as an example. So when it comes to the user journey, the first step is, of course, you download the app and you register and create an account. And the app actually encourages users to sign up by telling them like about the projection about the projection of the value that they could get in the future, so for offering them rewards or personalized offers and seamless ordering experience. The next part in the journey is menu exploration and customization. Now, talking about this, now once the users are registered, the user can explore the menu. They can go here, there, and see what Starbucks offers. They can browse various drinks, and then what they can do is they can customize to their preferences. Now, this comes down to Starbucks' emphasis on user-centered design. This level of customization, the type of milk you want to choose, and what you want to specify any allergies you have to any ingredients. So this type of customization really like personalizes your experience. So one key learning at this step would be a great level of personalization. The next step is order placement and payment, and it's simple as that. You users select their items, they place their orders through the app, and they can like pay through multiple payment methods. And also like they can go at Starbucks to pick up their coffee, and they can pay through the QR code. So there are multiple options, and this actually tells us how important the integration part is with third-party services. So this is a key learning, that seamless integration is very important when it comes to streamlining process and really making the user experience as smooth as possible. The fourth thing is real-time updates. With real-time updates, now how Starbucks does it, um, users receive real-time updates on the status of their order, including preparation time and when it's ready for pickup. So this feature keeps you informed and actually helps you stay engaged throughout the waiting process. So you're not like blindsided. You're not in the dark. What happened to my order? You're always like up to date. So when you move out of the house and you're on your way to pick up your coffee, what's the status. So real-time communication, very important. Then the next step is in the journey is pickup and rewards, which is the final step. So then when users arrive at the Starbucks location, they skip the line. That's a huge hassle, being in the line. So I think one huge hurdle is out of your way. And then they head directly and pick to the pickup counter. The app's integration with location services. It was really interesting for me. It actually tells baristas that how near you are to the store, so that the baristas can really look at it in terms of when do I need to prepare this order, and when the user will arrive to pick up their order, so that they can manage everything else and also provide you fresh coffee. So I think that's a game changer. And additionally, of course, when you pick up, you complete the order, you earn rewards, and you use those rewards points for like future purchases. So that's amazing. So key learnings would be convenience that they provide and the rewards. And with rewards, you also get loyalty in exchange. So that's huge plus in this journey. Now, based on this journey, what I'm going to do is with every example, I'm going to talk about the key principles, the key design principles that these companies are using. And even though I know Starbucks, there are tons of principles and frameworks Starbucks must be using in their whole service, but I'd like to talk about three key principles. First is the user-centered design. So you notice how the entire journey was designed with users in mind. Like it knows the users prefer customization to their coffee orders and other orders, and it allows them to customize the orders to that extent according to their taste, according to their requirements, everything. So this is a very good example of a user-centered design, putting your users right in front or right in between of your service. The second principle would be contextual awareness. You're aware where you're operating, you're aware of the situation. So the feature that I talked about previously, the app's integration with location services, it enhances the user experience by allowing the baristas to start preparing the order as the user approaches the store. So I think that's one key principle to have when it comes to you know okay, this is distracting me. But anyways, the third principle I would talk about is feedback and response. And you saw how Starbucks really keeps the users up to date with real-time updates. And I think that's one important thing for products and services to keep in mind. Users need feedback. Users need a response from you. So, can you guys hear me? I think there was a problem, sorry. Yeah. So yes, you need to be responsive with users so that they know that they're not that they don't feel abandoned by you as a company. Cool. And so these are the key principles Starbucks is using, and I think the biggest learning would be the user-centered design, because once you put users in the center, I think all of the other principles automatically they combine to create this holistic experience, a holistic, delightful journey. Moving on, we have this next topic, which is creating unified and seamless user experience. Any guesses which company I will talk about for this example? Any guesses?
McDonald's.
Which company?
McDonald's, I think.
No, but I think the people in the chat have guessed it absolutely right. It is Apple. I don't think there can be any other better example when it comes to cross-platform and unified experience, when it comes to creating ecosystems. So we all know Apple has built its brand around this idea of of a very delightful experience and across multiple products and services. So I think the integration, the concern for privacy and everything, it really helps Apple stand out in the market. So we're going to talk about some key design elements when it comes to Apple. First, design continuity. We've all used Apple products, and we've seen Apple maintains a very consistent design language. Like their design system is very clean, very minimal. We can always know this is from Apple, right? There's not much clutter. It's very minimalistic. It knows what to show, what the user actually needs to read or needs to see. So the icons, the typography, and the interactions are very similar. Like it's not like the app is functioning like this, like in a certain way in one device and in another way in a different device. It's not happening. It's very seamless. It's very continuous. So there's this sense of familiarity when we're using Apple products, no matter a MacBook or an iPhone. So one key learning, because consistency is key. I'm personally a very huge fan of consistency. When there's no consistency, it really bugs me. So I feel like this is a very important key element to keep in mind. The second is cross-device synchronization. Apple is a champion at cross-device synchronization. I mean, personally speaking, I was a Google user. I basically became an Apple user, I think 3 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago. And I don't think I can go back to Windows or Google now because of the experience, because of the connected experience that it has given me. So I feel like that's, it won over me. Simple. I got sold. So simple as that. So Apple's ecosystem is very seamlessly synchronized. Everything, when it comes to data, when it comes to configurations across devices, I think it's all out there. It's in your reach, in your Apple Watch, iPhone. It's amazing. So the synchronization of everything is really well developed. So a key learning would be here is holistic and unified services. And the third key element of Apple's design language is a single sign-on and authentication. Now, this is not in terms of interface design. This is basically in terms of service design. They've designed this service as in a very holistic way. So there's like the single sign-on SSO, biometric authentication methods like Touch ID and Face ID. And it really simplifies the user access. Like I remember, I don't remember I used to save passwords in my Google accounts, but with Apple, I don't know, there's something to it. I actually have all of my passwords, all of my keys in Apple's, cloud. So I feel like that's also a game changer for me. That's also a game changer for people who are concerned about privacy. So again, authentication, that really matters. So one key learning, streamlined authentication. Now, based on all of these elements, the three key principles I would talk about with regards to Apple would be first, simplicity and clarity. Someone said something.
Who is with them? Who is with them?
Okay, I think we're good. There was a bit of noise. But anyways, the first one, simplicity and clarity. Let me just check if my mic is working. Yeah, perfect. It is working. Apple's design philosophy really prioritizes simplicity. Like if you open their, if you go to their website, look at their products, it's really clean. I mean, every time they launch a new iPhone or a new MacBook, it's right in your face, with huge bold typography, and it's very clear. Like you don't have to like scan here and there to really read the details. It's right in front of your face. It's very simple as that. I mean, there's not much clutter there. So unnecessary complexity, there's none of it. So it's very easy to understand. So again, simplicity and clarity. Apple really uses this principle across its services and products. The second principle would be end-to-end experience. Apple's ecosystem design ensures a very seamless end-to-end experience. And by end-to-end, I actually mean the experience doesn't start when you start using a MacBook. The experience starts when you go to their store to buy a MacBook. So that's how a holistic end-to-end experience is designed. And I'm actually a really big fan of how Apple pulls it off every time. The third principle would be transparency. We're well aware of it. Apple is very transparent in its data usage. Safari, how it tells how many trackers were tracking me, the privacy policies, respecting our data. So it really develops a good bond with your user. It really tells the user that we care about you. So that's one very key principles Apple uses in their design language. So great. I mean, that was a good learning from Apple. The third topic now, I want to talk about inclusive design principles. Any guesses here, like which company I would talk about? I mean, this is going to be maybe it might be a little more of a surprise. But any guesses? Which company?
Microsoft?
Not a bad example, to be honest. I mean, when I was like researching a little bit for this, Microsoft is one of the most inclusive, accessible companies out there. But I wanted to make this a little more focused on digital experiences. So we're going to talk about Airbnb. And you all know Airbnb is a booking accommodation platform. And I believe, Airbnb is actually a very popular name when it comes to design, right? We learn a lot of things from Airbnb's design principles, how Airbnb use this framework, that framework, how they collaborate with product managers. And but I think rarely we talk about how inclusive they are and how they build very accessible products. It's actually ingrained at the core of their design language. And this is what I'm going to talk about right now. The first thing, simplified navigation and very easily readable fonts. I mean, if you've ever used Airbnb, no fuss. That it's just, a white background, very crisp, clear font, talking about the things that really matter and isn't showing you extra information unless you really want to see that information. So the app's navigation is very, very straightforward. The tabs are out there, scrollable, everything out there. It makes it very easy for users with cognitive disabilities to understand and use the interface. Because when you use larger fonts, when you use a very high contrast layout and interface, it's actually, people with certain kind of disabilities, it's really easier for them to interact with that product or service. So again, a key learning would be, I believe, with this element, I think the key learning would be inclusive design as a standard. Like, it's not an afterthought for Airbnb. It's actually ingrained at the core of their design philosophy. So that's one thing to learn from Airbnb. Then very similar to the previous point, color contrast. And as I said, it's a very, there's not too much color. Like, I can see Airbnb's pink or orange gradient there, but most of it is white. And then there are different levels of tints of gray. And then there's black, simple as that. So it maintains a very sharp contrast. So there's better readability. Like, no matter if your brightness is low, if your brightness is high, if you have some kind of visual impairment, it will actually try its best to make sure that you're getting all the information you need, you're understanding all the information you need. So even though contrast, color, these things sometimes they may seem like very small things, very petty things, but they're not. By focusing on the details, and that's one of the key learnings here, attention to detail. By focusing on the details, you can actually stand out when it comes to creating meaningful experiences. Then when it comes to inclusivity and of course accessibility, localization plays a very important part, and Airbnb is a global product, right? So Airbnb recognizes the importance of providing their content in tons of languages out there to cater to users from all around the world with diverse linguistic backgrounds. And it's not like you can just go and select language from there. It's more than that. It translates for you. It suggests you language. So that actually tells you that one key learning is that it provides universal benefits. So that means it's focused on inclusive and accessibility design, again, is a standard and not an afterthought. So for Airbnb, I'd like to put the principles how we see them on the internet mostly. And basically, when we see something on the internet, when we read a book, we're always wondering in the real world how it's being used. So I thought it would be a good idea to really see how design principles coined by renowned designers, how those principles are playing a part in these Fortune 500 companies. So good design is as little design as possible by Dieter Rams. Dieter Rams is actually one of my favorite designers. I'm still learning about him. And one of his this is from the 10 principles of good design by Dieter Rams. One of his principles is good design is honest. It's actually one of the principle I follow in my design philosophy. So this principle, good design is as little design as possible. It's pretty much, straightforward, just to the point, that it basically means the principle emphasizes simplicity and minimalism in design. And that's what Airbnb is doing, right? I mean, we've seen its design is very clean and straightforward, and it knows what information matters to the users. We need to show this information. The other things we can hide them behind some menus or some other cards. So there's no unnecessary clutter. There's like the right kind of prioritization there. So that really matters. The second one, Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug. It's actually a book. And simple as that, I mean, don't make me think. Your product should be very simple to understand. It shouldn't, wait for me to think and then operate and then interact with the product. So Krug's principle of minimizing, and it all leads to like minimizing cognitive load at the end of the day, right? I don't want the users to be, to be holding his head and going like, okay, I cannot understand what's going on, and I need to uninstall this app. So that's a big learning, that you need to make sure that it's very easy to understand. Simplicity goes a long way. That's what I've heard, learned throughout my design career. The third one, also a popular designer, Aaron Walter, mostly known for his social design space work, which he basically proposes empathy in design. And that's pretty much like evident from what we've just seen here in the key elements of Airbnb's design language. And that means when you're empathetic towards your user, you're thinking about them, you're caring about them, and you're building for them. So when we're building an inclusive product, when we're building a product that's accessible enough, then we're empathizing with users. So that's another key principle that Airbnb is using. Now we're gonna move on to the next topic, but before that, let's take a breather, a 5-minute breather, because I get tired of talking too much too. So I'm just gonna take 5 minutes here, and this is kind of a timeout. And I'm gonna talk about what I recently watched. In the beginning, I actually talked about I'm into films. So here are some of the movies that I recently watched. I really loved The Batman from Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves is one of my favorite directors. I loved the Planet of the Apes trilogy by Matt Reeves. And for me, I would give it an 8 out of 10. The characters were perfect. The movie was it was written very, very well. I think we got to see a very different version of Batman. I've actually seen almost all of the Batman movies, from Michael Keaton's to Christian Bale's to Val Kilmer's. So I'd give it an 8 out of 10. The second one is Pulp Fiction. It's actually one of my favorite movies, and it's not like I've seen it for the first time recently. I've seen it for, I don't know, a million times, and it's still like one of the finest movies from Quentin Tarantino. Tarantino is one of my favorite directors. And I would give it a 9 out of 10, definitely. And then we have Zindagi Tamasha. I actually heard a lot about this movie, and I ended up watching it. I actually really liked it. I mean, it's a very thought-provoking movie. It's a very different take on the society, and it is based on a very controversial subject, but you need to be really smart to really observe the underlying themes there. So yeah, as As says, didn't know what to expect from this Batman movie when it first came out, but I actually really liked it. Same here, man. I mean, Robert Pattinson was actually a very good Bruce Wayne. So yeah, so I'll give it 2 more minutes. Do you guys want to talk about any of your favorite movies? Any other things that you recently watched? Are you shy? Okay, then we're good. You can even type in the chat. because I really like to take a breather sometimes when it comes to presentations. Okay, cool. So now let's actually move on to the next topic, which is designing versatile solutions for all platforms. Any guesses which company? I mean, this is actually pretty simple. I mean, Apple can also be an example here, but I'm not going to talk about Apple. I'm going to talk about Google. Because Google is, yes, Moise guessed it right. Google is one of the most versatile companies out there. I mean, and for this topic, we're only going to talk about Google Workspace, which is actually its flagship product. So we know that it is a suite of cloud-based productivity and collaboration tools. And focus on the keyword here is cloud-based. Everything is cloud-based. Nothing is like, I don't know, offline or just a mobile app. It's cloud-based. Everything. You can access all of the tools on the internet, no matter where you are, from every device. So, and that's actually our first key element from Google, the responsive web design. The interface is designed very highly responsively. No matter, you can open your calendar on your phone, you can open your calendar on a tab, you can open your Gmail on, I don't know, I've never used a smartwatch, but I think you can open a email on your smartwatch. So it's very, very responsive, and it's cloud first. So that is one key learning, that accessibility needs to be everywhere, not just on certain devices. So, and all of these experience, like all of these products are actually optimized for the best experience on different kinds of devices. So I used to be an Android developer. I started out as a software developer, as I mentioned. And with Android, it was very tough for us to create responsive layouts, because there were just so many devices out there running on Android. But Google does it really, really well. So, I mean, hats off, Google. The second one, real-time collaboration. This was a game changer for me when I first learned about it. I mean, my friend can edit from their home. I can edit from here. I can actually see him typing into the screen. It's all real-time collaboration. It was a game changer. I mean, I know internet has come a long way. So it's amazing to see how Google really fostered real-time collaboration with their collaborative tools. So a key learning would be here is collaboration first approach when you want to build a versatile product. And the third is mobile apps. Now this is not something like very deep. Yes, exactly. Samir, Figma is also a great example of collaboration first approach. Actually, collaboration is one of the huge USPs of Figma. So when it comes to the third one, mobile apps, now I talked about Google being a very cloud first company, but at the same time, they have mobile apps for the tiniest of product. Like even for a note taking app, they have a mobile app, because they want to provide you a very tailored experience. They want to optimize their experience. Like, for example, if you're not getting the right kind of experience from their cloud solutions, you can, and if you want to have a very quick access of that tool, if it's very frequent usage, you can download the app, and it provides you a very seamless, very capable experience on your mobile phone. So again, platform specific optimization. No matter where you're using it, it's optimized really, really well. The design principles we're going to talk about for Google is, first of all, human-centered language. Man, I am a huge fan how Google uses UX copy, as we say, UX writing. It's all very human-centered. Like, it's so simple to understand. The biggest example is my mother uses most of the Google apps, right? I mean, sometimes email, sometimes this, that. My father and we know, like I work at CreditBook, our user base is actually not digital savvy enough, but they're still using a lot of Google products, right? And that shows you how human-centered they are. They use very familiar terms, no jargons, and the interface itself, the experience itself is very simple to understand for them. So you don't really need to be very digital tech savvy to understand Google's products. The second principle is continuous improvement. Google updates their app every now and then. Every now and then we're getting notifications. Okay, this app is now being updated. The other app is being updated. So that actually shows you they're very much focused towards continuous improvement. They don't want their progress to be stagnant when it comes to these products. They want to commit to ongoing improvement, and that's like a very brave promise to keep. The third principle would be searchability and findability. No matter what product you're using from Google, every product has advanced kind of like searchability, findability. For example, Google Photos. You can, I think, the face search, it doesn't really work well in Apple Photos. But it works really, really well when it comes to Google Photos. That shows you that their emphasis on this principle is like really, really hard. And they're committed to provide clear navigation to help you find the information very quickly and efficiently. So yeah, that's Google. Now we're gonna move on to our last topic, which is developing feedback-driven final product. Again, any guesses? I think this is going to be a little hard for you to guess, but any guesses? This is actually a product that has gone mainstream very recently. InDrive, Discord, Amazon. I mean, good examples, to be honest, because I can't give multiple examples here. I'm just like choosing one example to go with, but I'm going to go with Spotify. And the reason why I'm going to talk about Spotify when it comes to, maintaining a very tight user feedback loop is because Spotify operates within the community of its users. Sorry, there was a bit of noise, so I'm going to repeat. One of the reasons why I'm talking about Spotify on this topic is that Spotify operates within the music industry, right? It operates with its users. It has a very, very strong sense of community. So, and that their streaming service like offers a huge library of songs, playlists, podcasts. Like and its platform is very user-centered. I mean, I remember when Spotify was launched in Pakistan, I used to say, why would I even use this platform? I mean, I don't need it. Simple as that. I can use YouTube for listening to music, or there were other like cloud-based apps, like people used to listen to song on SoundCloud. But it really got me. I mean, I then started using Spotify, and it was a very different experience. It was a surreal experience. Like it was a very huge library, and it almost feels like Spotify is listening to me. I mean, whenever I'm like, oh, this button should be here, or there should be a better option to navigate, it almost feels like as if it's listening to me, my problems, and then reacting on it. So the key design elements when it comes to Spotify: personalized recommendations. First of all, it really, really goes ahead with the advanced algorithms. I think Spotify has a must have. I mean, I haven't really dig into this, but I think they must be having a very, very big and very capable data science team, because when it comes to analyzing your users' listening habits and preferences, it's not really easy. But with data, everything like seems really easier. So this data is then used to create personalized playlists. The other day, I was listening to a bunch of rock songs from the early 2000s, and it created this rock mix for me. Man, I've been listening to that rock mix like repeatedly. It's on repeat. So it knows what I want to listen, and it enhances my user experience. So one key learning here would be that if you're going for personalization, data-driven personalization is like the approach to go with, because data is really, really powerful when it comes to personalization. The second key element I would talk about is user-generated playlists. It allows you to create and share playlists with your friends, with anyone actually. I mean, you can just create a playlist and just share with your coworkers. And this, what it does, it fosters a sense of community. It creates this community angle. So again, you're not just going there on Spotify and listening to music. You're doing much more. You're creating, you're sharing. So there's a lot of other user engagement involved, right? So that's one key learning from this key element. And the third one is feedback channel. And that's what what this topic is about. Spotify provides you multiple ways to provide feedback on songs, playlists. Like you can see that they have a very dedicated feedback page. But again, even like this doesn't matter. What really matters is that Spotify operates around its users in the music industry. That's the best area to operate for a music company, simple as that. And they are very quick to act on feedback. So that's one key element. Again, for this example, for this topic, for this company, I will again talk about it from design principles, from an angle of design principles by renowned designers and product specialists. First of all, first principle, predictive consistency. What I talked about, predicting users' likeness when it comes to music, what they want to listen. So Spotify's use of predictive algorithms to recommend the music is really aligned with Toynazini's principle of maintaining consistency. And when you maintain consistency and when you're predicting things, you're actually enhancing the user behavior. So that's one one design principle Spotify is using. The other one is design thinking, the most like a cliche term nowadays in the design industry, but very powerful nonetheless. So Spotify's iterative design process, as I said, they're very quick to react on feedback. Their iterative design process to constantly hear user feedback and then integrate on it, react to it, and their willingness to really evolve and move forward with the users, move forward with the content curators and the creators. It was advocated by Tim Brown, and we can definitely see this playing a part in Spotify's design philosophy. Then Alan Cooper's user control and freedom. Spotify's emphasis on user-generated playlists is actually a good example for user control and freedom. It gives you a lot of customization options, and it gives you the ability to control one's music experience. So I can definitely, I've created multiple playlists for me for my different moods, right? So it's giving me that control and that freedom. And yeah, I mean, these were the principles Spotify was using.